Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Elizabeth and I will be reviewing The Bachelor episode 3. Welcome back. Hope you guys are doing well. Please remember to subscribe to this channel, like the video, comment, let me know what you think of this episode. That'd be awesome. But let's get into it. So right back where we left off, Sarah is on the ground, needs some help. She can't breathe, she can't see, and the rose ceremony stops and all the other girls have to kind of wait for Sarah to get her bearings again. And so Matt, of course, walks over and is like, "Are you okay?" And Sarah is like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Like, I just need to like breathe. I just need to like breathe." So they walk outside and the girls are jealous because it seems like Sarah did it for attention, because Sarah already has a rose. So I don't know what she was so stressed out about. And we see in this episode that she's getting into it with the girls in the house, but this is before that even happened. So I wonder what she was so like stressed out about that she like passed out. So anyway, the girls are mad because she's outside getting extra time with Matt and making this bonding, you know what I mean? Making this bond that he doesn't have with the other ladies, or he hasn't had a chance to connect with the other ladies yet. So the girls are getting kind of pissed. So we get back to so Sarah's fine. They walk her back in and we get back to the finishing up the rest of the ceremony. Boy, oh boy, Victoria gets that last rose and it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So Marilyn goes home over Victoria. Damn. If I were Marilyn, I think I would be shocked. But also, I'd be turned off from Matt. I would be turned off because I'm thinking, like, if you're going to choose Victoria over me, all right, bye. Bye. That's what I wanted to tell Marilyn. Like, forget Matt if he's going to choose Victoria. Obviously, I just really don't think he's into Victoria. I think it has to be more of a show thing, like the producers are telling him to make her stay. It has to be. And I noticed you didn't even get to see the other girls exit. There were other girls that didn't get picked, that didn't get a rose. And it was like you saw one girl hugging him and then you saw Marilyn's exit and then that was it. I was like, that was kind of unfair. So it's the next day and Chris walks into the cabin and announces that they're going to go on a group date, that Matt wants to feel comfortable feeling uncomfortable. So the girls are tasked with writing a sexy scene that would include themselves and Matt and performing it in front of a live audience. And the challenge or the date is based off of I guess Chris Hansen wrote a romance novel, which, I don't know. Chris Hansen seems like a robot. I don't know if he's real. I don't know if he's a real person. He just seems so like, but he looked really cute in that suit. He looked really cute in the suit. He cleaned up well. It was nice to see him outside of like, his typical dad uniform, which is the sweater and the jeans. So I will say that. Yeah, the girls have to write these sexy scenes and they are mentored by a former bachelorette who, I don't know what the point of her being there is, but she's there coaching the girls on what to write. So we get this montage, or we get this clip of all of the girls practicing and rehearsing what they're going to say. And of course, some girls are writing very lovely, sweet things. And then we get the clip of Victoria and there's a bunch of bleeps and bleeps and bleeps. And I'm like, of course she's going to be extra. Of course she's going to be extra. But then I'm like, I don't know if it's actually extra or that's just ABC like putting extra bleeps in to make it seem like she's saying something dirty. I don't know. So the girls are finally ready to get on stage and read what they have written. And it turns out that the live audience is just the other half of girls who didn't get to go on the group date. So I feel like if that were me, I would feel a little bit more comfortable reading. But
felt two strong hands cover both her shoulders. She quivered.
Okay. Everything is getting hot. Like, oh my God.
He kissed the skin between her suit and her hairline.
Everyone's got little dirty thoughts in the back of their mind sometimes, especially with someone as sexy as him.
So Matt goes first, and Matt's got this kind of like Matt has this kind of like kind of look to him sometimes, and I don't know if that's just like the typical jock look or if he kind of looks. He kind of reminded me of like a young kid, like a 13-year-old or something like that. Like and they didn't, I wish that they would have played the entirety of what he said. They just played these little clips, but in between the clips as he's reading his scene, he's like licking his lips and like pausing for effect, and like it looked kind of goofy. It wasn't gross, it just looked goofy from Matt. Like, and that's the thing. I don't see Matt as like a sexual person. He just kind of seems, he's an attractive guy, but for some reason, I don't see him as like a sexual person. I'm not sure. But I wish they would have played the entirety of, I wanted to hear what he wrote for real.
So ladies, let's begin. Anna, you're up.
Anyway, so the girls go, one by one, and they show a little montage of, little bits and pieces from each of the girls' writings. And it's okay. It's, it looks like they're having a lot of fun. Everybody's blushing and giggling. Some girls, some girls' scenes are more explicit than others. And so apparently everyone enjoyed Victoria's scene. She was super extra, like Victoria is gonna be. So everyone enjoyed it. And what's interesting about this date is that it seemed like this date got everybody on Victoria's side, because she went from being like an annoying thing in the house to like the head bitch in charge, in a way, for lack of better word. So then while the ladies are up there on the stage and everybody's laughing and they're all reading their things, Sarah, the camera shows Sarah in the back in the audience just like having a breakdown. She apparently can't take all of these other ladies saying sexy things to Matt because she feels so strongly about him that it bothers her to see these women talk to him sexually, which, she's starting to get on my nerves. My thing is, this is the 25th season. And so she's 24. This show is older than her, is at least a year older than she is, which that's amazing to me. But girl, this is how the show works. He goes on multiple dates with different women. Like, I can't believe that there's still someone saying, oh my God, like this experience is just so hard for me. Like, it's so hard seeing like other women like you. Like, get over it. Like, this is what you signed up for. It's the show.
Imagine having your dream date and then the next day, like, seeing that just shoved down your face. Like, ugh. It felt like dirty watching that.
So we get the second half of the group date. And, this is where the ladies get one-on-one time with Matt. And the first lady he sits down with is Rachel. This is the thing. The show just keeps showing Rachel, keeps showing her. Obviously, I feel like Rachel's going to be one of the girls that makes it to the end, because they keep showing her face. Every time they show her face for a reaction, every time. They want us to get used to her. Anyway, so he kisses her and she seems to like push him back a little bit or like reject his kiss, which was interesting to me, which I feel like is just like I feel like that's a trick to kind of get him to like you, like, let me be a little feisty so that he's not so comfortable. He never really truly knows where he stands with me, and you know what I mean? And like getting somebody to try and get you to like them. I feel like that's what that was. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but she like pushed him away when they were kissing, which I was like, huh? Or maybe she just didn't feel like kissing him right then and there. So Chompers, or Katie, after Rachel's date, Chompers talks to the girls and she's like, I'm glad that like we did that date Because as someone who came in like really confident, I just think that it's important for women to be able to talk about sex with their partners and what they really want so that everyone can be satisfied. And I'm like, Chompers, you came in with a dildo. You came in holding a dildo. That makes you more open sexually? I don't know. I just didn't like that. And so I'm thinking, and during the reading of their story, she also said that this was something in her wheelhouse. So I'm wondering if maybe Katie has some sort of, she's like a sex coach or has a podcast or whatever, but I don't really care enough to like really look that up. But I just, I don't know, that pissed me off for a little bit. I'm like, girl, you came in holding a dildo. Like, that doesn't make you more sexually mature. And you're having this talk with the ladies that, you know, it's important that you talk to your partner. Like, yeah, that's true, but I don't know, who are you? Ooh wee. Ooh wee. So we get the second sit down with Bree and Matt, and again they're talking about the date and, you know, how it was such a challenge to talk about something sexual that they wanted to do with him in front of all the other girls and blah, 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 blah. And Matt is telling her that, you know, I don't really want to know too much. I kind of want things to be, you know, I want some things to be private. I don't want to know everything so that there's some mystery to you. And they're agreeing with that. But boy, Matt's lips are dry as hell. OMG. Ooh, they're all right here. Gray, all right here. It looks so bad. And he keeps licking his lips. Ah, I know that feeling. It's a permanent dryness, you know? And you know what I wondered? And then I was like, oh, Bria has to kiss him, because that's how like every date, every little short date ends is like with a kiss, with like, and not just a regular kiss. This not like a peck, but like a makeout. And ooh, those ladies are sucking his lips dry. But I was thinking, you know, if I were one of the girls and I saw his lips that dry, because all the other girls, you know, they have makeup on, so their lips are all glossy and done. I would have been like, Matt, do you want some lip balm or something, or some Vaseline or something like that? Like, that's what I would do. Because I felt bad for Brie that she had to kiss him with his lips that dry. Because I know they probably aren't just dry, but they probably stink. And I say stink only because, you know, when you keep licking your lips, you know, I don't know. Sometimes it's like your lips get so dry that they get cracked and it's raw, and there's a smell with that. Anyway. So back at the house, Sarah is secluding herself from the other girls because this process is just like too much. It's like too much for me. I can't do it. I'm just like not cut out for this process. Go home. Go home. Sarah, go home now. It's annoying. So she's, you know, thinking to herself, this is just too much. And she doesn't like that, you know, the other girls have time with him because she feels such a special connection with him. And so she decides that she's going to go see him, go talk to him, even though he's on the date with the other girls, right? So back on the group date, Chompers, Katie, is sitting down with Matt, and they're talking. And they get into a good conversation, and Sarah walks in, and honestly, Matt looks really excited. The look on Matt's face when he turned around and saw Sarah, I was like, he likes her. Not to say that he was bored listening to Rachel, but his face went to when Sarah came by.
I finally was able to start having a conversation with Matt. As it's flowing really well, Sarah shows up. It just caught me off guard.
So Sarah sits down with Matt, and she's talking. She's like, it's just been like so hard, like the past few weeks. Like, just like, I just feel like we have such a strong connection, and like seeing the other girls like have that with you is like really bothering me. Dude, Matt is smiling the whole time. He's like trying to stop himself from smiling. He really likes her. I don't know what they have, but he really is feeling her. And they're talking, and you know, he's trying to calm her down and just, you know, be like, yeah, I understand how you feel, and it's hard for me too, and this is new for me, and blah 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 blah. So while they're talking, Chompers Katie walks into the room with the other girls, and she's like, Sarah's here. Sarah interrupted me on my date. And they're like, what? And so then the other girls are talking to her, and Victoria is like, girl, go back and get your date. Go back. Don't let her walk all over you. Go back and get your date and interrupt her. And Katie uncomfortably agrees and tries to like go back and assert herself, but like, oh, it's awkward and embarrassing because Matt likes Sarah. So hold on.
Hey. Hi. So I wasn't sure if there was something like important since it was like, I don't know, our group date. So I don't know, are you guys done? Can I have my time back? Or...
Yeah, of course. Can I bring him to you in like 5 minutes?
So I feel like this is not a normal thing for Katie to assert herself like this. That's why it kind of seems kind of awkward and uncomfortable. And she comes in and she's like, this was my date. Like, when are you going to be done? And Sarah's like, I'll give him back in like a couple minutes. Like, and so Katie's like, okay, I'll just wait over here, and like awkwardly waits. Like she can awkwardly steps aside, kind of still in their space, and just kind of stands there while they're talking. So Sarah is still trying to talk to Matt, but like she can tell it's weird. It's awkward because she can see Katie right there, and she doesn't feel like it's a private conversation. And so she's trying to talk, but she keeps looking at Katie and then looking at the cameras and then looking at Matt. And Katie comes right back at, like, she's already in the same space, but instead of standing off to the side, she comes and goes like, okay, so are you guys done? They talked for like 2 minutes, and she's like, are you guys done? Because I really want to get my time on my group date. And Sarah's just like, I don't know what to tell you, and looks and continues to look at Matt, and Matt continues to keep having the conversation with Sarah. And so Katie sits down on the same couch next to Matt, and they're still talking, and it's just more and more awkward. So Sarah is the one that's like, can you walk me out? And Matt excuses himself, looks at Katie and like excuses himself and like walks her out. But he doesn't just walk her all the way out. Like the way it was set up, they didn't really have that far to walk. And maybe they took like maybe 5 or 6 steps. That's where he walked her out. And then he starts making out with her. So while Katie is still on the couch, she can hear them making out. It's so awkward. And Katie turns around like, because she can hear them kissing. So it just, you know, it was awkward, and you can tell that Matt really likes her. If I didn't say that already, you could tell Matt really likes her. Super awkward. So bad decision, Sarah. So after that, so she's like, oh my God, I know Katie's upset with me because I interrupted her date. So, and she's probably gonna tell the other girls. So let me go to the girls who are on the group date and apologize in advance so there's no drama. I think that was the wrong move. She goes into the group date and she's like, hey ladies, just to let you know, like, I was feeling some sort of way and I wanted to talk to Matt, so I interrupted the group date, and like, I just want to apologize to you, and I just wanted you guys to hear it from me and not from Katie. And the girls are not taking it. They're just like, why would you interrupt the group date? Now you took time away from us, you dumbass. Like, I don't care about how you're feeling. Save your apologies. And she made the situation even worse, because now she's pissed off like a whole group of women and not just Katie. So now she's supposedly feeling even worse after talking to those girls. So she walks out and she's going back to her cabin or her hotel room, and the camera crew is following her, and she's just like crying and crying. And she's just like, I just feel like some of the other girls are jealous because me and Matt have something special. Like, we're we're further along than some of the other girls. And I'm like, really? I mean, says who? I mean, but I guess she's right. They do like each other. And it is a little clear that Matt likes her more than all the other girls. Oh my God. Oh my God. Victoria is so fake. Victoria is so fake. One thing I wanted to say was when Sarah first walked into the room, she was like, hey girls. Victoria's like, hey, what's up? And Victoria's been talking the most shit about everybody. So as Sarah's taking her long walk back to the cabin and she's crying, Victoria walks up. Like Victoria leaves wherever they were and like tries to sort of chase down Sarah to try and console her. So Victoria walks up to Sarah and is like, hey, how are you doing? Oh my God, I don't want you to cry, but like you ruined everything and you should feel bad. Like, I don't know what that was about. Victoria is ridiculous. She walks up, Sarah is crying. Sarah goes and tries to hold Victoria's hand and like, she was like, we can be friends, right? We can be friends. Girl, don't trust Victoria. Victoria's not your friend. So Victoria's out there talking to her and is like trying to explain that what she did was wrong and she shouldn't have taken time from the rest of the group of ladies. And then Katie Chompers comes out and is also talking to Sarah, and they're both kind of like, what the hell was that? Why would you do this? Why would you interrupt our time? Katie's being very like, she's just not trying to hear it. Sarah's still with the crying, like, I'm sorry, I just felt away, I'm sorry. And Katie's like, I don't want to hear it. You know, you need to go figure it out. If you need to go home because you can't take all of this, you need to figure it out, basically is what Katie said. And this is another thing that's pissing me off about Sarah and her whole storyline and this whole thing is that she's so emotional and she's crying and everyone's wondering what the hell is going on with her because it still doesn't make sense why she passed out during the rose ceremony, having already had a rose and a one-on-one with him. I don't get it. I just don't understand. Why not just tell everybody what's going on with you? Maybe it's nobody's business, but like, tell everybody where your head is at. Like whatever. We get back into the house and Matt comes into the room and basically ends the group date. That's it for the group date. Having only spoken to Rachel and who else did he speak to? He spoke to Rachel and he spoke to Rachel and Katie for 2 seconds and then spent most of the time talking to Sarah, who wasn't even on the group date to begin with. So he ends it and the ladies are pissed. He ends the group date and he gives the impression rose to Rachel. And I don't know, I would be pissed too if I were one of the ladies because that's it. Like some of the ladies he has not even spoken to yet at all. So it's the next day. Right? And getting ready for another one-on-one date, Serena P, which we haven't really seen too much of her. She's the one who gets the one-on-one. And so Matt comes into the cabin. He's dressed nice. Serena's dressed. And, they're going to get ready to go on their date. But first, he doesn't see Sarah. Sarah, again, is secluding herself from the girls for a second night because she thinks that the girls are pissed at her, so she's hiding, which is making it worse. So Matt comes in to go on his date with Serena, but he sees that Sarah is nowhere to be found, so he asks the girls, where's Sarah? And all the girls go, I don't know. She's been really quiet. I think she's still in her room. So of course, Matt drops everything and goes to find Sarah so he can talk to her. And that pisses the girls off even more because this is the second kind of mini time, or this is like the third mini sort of time that he gets with her that the other girls are not getting. And so he finds her, we find her in her hotel room and she's under the covers, like, and Matt comes in and like jumps on her. Like his whole body, he jumps on top of her while she's like under the covers in bed. And he's like, oh, are you okay? And at first I was kind of taken aback by that because I was like, wow, you really don't even care. Like you obviously like her and you don't care who knows. And it seemed a little too comfortable. Like, you just don't jump on top of her. Matt's big old body on her little, like, it seemed, I don't know. I didn't like that. It seemed a little too familiar, too comfortable. I can see it as another thing where he's kind of like a big kid. That's something like a silly big kid would do, but that's something like I can see being done once we're in a relationship. That's like a relationship thing. Like, you feel comfortable with the person, so you like fall on top of them and like you kind of squeeze them in, and like that's a thing you do when you're more familiar with the person. But maybe maybe that's his personality, but so he pulls her out of bed. I guess she was taking a nap or something. And he pulls her out of bed, and she doesn't even have time to like put makeup on her face or anything like that. And her hair is like, she has bedhead and everything. She puts her little jacket on, and they come out of the room onto the couch and in the cabin, and they're talking, and he's just like, I don't want you to leave. Like, I want you to stay here. Like, I care about you so much, and like I like you. And then we get back. So then we get the scene back with the girls, and the girls are like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. She's being extremely manipulative now, and all she wants to do, like Anna is the one who said it. Anna says she wants Matt to tell her to stay. That's what she wants. And then we get back, and then editing is funny because we get back to Matt and Sarah talking, and that's exactly what he says. He's like, I want you to stay here. And because she's like, I was gonna leave. Like, I was gonna leave today. Like, I can't take this. I was gonna leave. And he's like, I don't. Anyway, so he talks her down, and they make out again. And she doesn't come down with Matt. She goes right back into her room, and Matt comes back down with the ladies. And he's like, oh, sorry, ladies. That was longer than 5 minutes, huh? And they're all like, yeah. You got a date with Serena, who's sitting there waiting on you. And if I were Serena, I'd be a little pissed. Like, I'm all excited for my one-on-one date with you, and you spending the beginning of our date consoling some other girl. But when he comes back down, he's like, yeah, honestly, I would do that with anybody who was having a hard time. If I heard that anybody was having a hard time, I would make that time to make sure that you're okay. I don't really believe that. And he keeps explaining. And what I loved, this is the one thing I did like about Victoria. I don't like her as a character on the show, but what I did appreciate was as he's talking and trying to make an excuse for why he spent so much time with Sarah, she interrupts him and says, it's Serena's date. And he goes, oh yeah, that's right. Let's go, Serena. I was like, Serena P and Matt go out on their date. They go horseback riding, which is cute, and they're talking, and then they sit down and they sit down and have a picnic, and they're making a charcuterie board, and that's kind of cute. Then he tells Serena P that like his feelings for her are growing, and he feels really strong about her. And I'm kind of confused because I'm like, this is the first time the cameras are showing them together. I think other than the first night, this is their first date together. So I don't know about when he says feelings are growing. And honestly, at this point, he has spent the most time with Sarah out of all the other girls. So we get the second half of the date with Matt and Serena P. It's nighttime now, and now they're having that fake dinner that they never eat. So another group date card comes, and another date card comes. As the date card is being announced, Rachel goes to pick the card up, and she's gonna read it, and Sarah comes out of hiding miraculously and comes and squeezes in on the couch next to the girls like she hasn't been secluding herself this whole time. And now the girls are really, really pissed.
We didn't talk to anyone. We didn't know where you were. And after what's gone on, Sarah, I was worried about you. And I don't know how to feel right now.
I hope that your connection with Matt is very strong right now, because the rest of your living situation here is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Wow. They're all going in on Sarah, all of them. Victoria is doing the most the absolute most. And Sarah just keeps apologizing, keeps trying to apologize, and keeps trying to find ways to apologize, and the girls are not having any of it. My thing is like at a certain point, girl, stop apologizing. Like you're doing a thing. Like, stop apologizing. Something seems a little like produced about the whole thing. Like you're obviously stressing out about your family, and you're not telling the girls. And you know that that's what's leading you to be so emotional and cry and all this other stuff. And you're not telling the girls what's going on. So of course they're being extra harsh on you. And all you're doing is sitting there and apologizing 20 times, and it's not working. And every time you say something, the girls are going even harder on you. So at this point, just like stop, you know? The other thing is that little 21-year-old girl, what is she talking about? That like, she basically threatened Sarah and is like, well, I hope that you are super serious with Matt, because the rest of your living time here is not going to be good. Seriously, little girl, who are you talking to? I would not have taken that. Who are you talking to? What is this, high school? The rest of my living time here is not going to go well. What does that mean? What, are you going to do something to me? I didn't like that at all. That's the part that I didn't like. Like, girl, of course they're going to kind of beat up on you because you kind of robbed. First off, everyone can tell that he likes you more than everybody else. And it's a bunch of girls there. And you keep interrupting their time with this, I'm so stressed. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so, like, girl, make a decision and stick with it. Stop wasting everybody else's time. So now she's like, oh my God, she's all upset. And so then Katie comes in. I think this is the next day. She's still, like, Sarah is still secluding herself from the rest of the girls, and Katie comes in to try and talk to her. And she's like, Sarah, I really don't like the way that the girls like beat up on you. I really didn't like that at all. And I'm like, then why didn't you say anything? What do you mean you didn't like, you going to her to tell her that what the other girls did was wrong, but you didn't say anything? And you're the one who was interrupted on the date. I thought that was bullshit. But anyway, so she's like, I really didn't like the way the girls were talking to you the other day. Like, that was not okay. But like, are you okay? What's going on? So Sarah has made the decision that she's going to leave, right? She's going to leave the show. She's going to leave. And Katie's like, oh no, like, I hope it wasn't because of last night. I hope you don't feel like you're getting bullied out of here. And she's like, no, honestly, actually, there's like other things going on. Like, my dad is really sick and like he's dying. And she says, like, it's not even like he has years to live. Like, he has like weeks. And I'm like, then why are you on the show? Why? Your dad has weeks to live and you are on a freaking reality show? Why? Whose fault is that but your own? And you want everybody else to feel sorry for you? Everybody should treat you special? Like, get the F off the show. Your dad was sick when you applied for the show. Your dad was sick when you auditioned for the show. Your dad was still sick when you got the casting call to be on the show. Your dad was still sick when you spent 2 weeks quarantining on set before filming. Like, he's been sick this whole time. Like, I know this is just a show. I don't know why I'm getting so turned up. But my thing is, like, I don't like when people do this. Like, do you want people to just feel sorry for you? Like, everybody's going through a hard time. And instead of just explaining yourself, you did all this seclusion so nobody knows what's going on. So now everybody has to feel somehow sorry for talking to you the way they did because they didn't know that you were going through this emotional turmoil of, you don't know if you should be on this show because your dad is sick. Girl, your dad has a few weeks to live in the middle of a freaking pandemic, and you decide to come on a reality show. And you want us to feel sorry. I just get off the show. So then she's crying, all this crying. And Katie is like, oh my God, girl. Honestly, like, my dad just died. my dad just died, and so I feel you. You should go home and be with your dad. Because even Katie, and I appreciate Katie for sharing this. She's like, you know, my dad died and I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to him. I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to him, so you should go home. That for some reason hit me more than this whole thing that Sarah's talking about. Like, she didn't even get a chance to be with her dad to say goodbye. And you have a chance to just sit and be with your parent. Like, it's a horrible, horrible, horrible situation that somebody you love is basically dying in front of you. Why would you go on a reality show? Like, why are you not there with your father? So she says to Katie that, like, oh, you know, I'm just so, you know, she's talking about they're bonding over their dads, and, you know, so then she's like, okay, I'm going to go home. So then the next scene, we get her like packing up and everything, and she's going to get in the car. She gets in the car with all her luggage, and they drop her off in front of Matt's, right? And as she walks up to the door to confront Matt, she's breathing and she's all nervous, which I, you know, again, I'm like, I don't understand the big deal. It's only been 3 weeks, and so you like him and you have feelings for him, but you need to go take care of your dad. Girl, just say I need to go take care of my dad. I mean, I'm sure he'll understand that. It's not as if you're leaving because you can't take the process. It's not that you're leaving really because you're getting bullied. Like, you're leaving because you need to be with your dad who's dying in a freaking pandemic. So I don't understand what is so hard. Why is that so hard to communicate? Like, this breathing she's doing, it just is pissing me off. It's grossing me out. And so anyway, Matt opens the door and she's I'm just like, so like, I can't even talk right now. Like, so she sits down with Matt and she starts talking about how she really has so many feelings for him, but she can't do this. But she doesn't tell Matt that she needs to go back home with her dad, and that's what she's freaking out about. She basically tells Matt that all the girls ganged up on her. And this is why I don't feel bad for Sarah. This is why I'm like, you know, get off the show. This is why I don't feel bad. Your dad is dying. And instead you talk to Matt about how the girls, like, you're leaving because the girls are ganging up on you. They all ganged up on you and you just can't take it. You just can't take this anymore. So I have feelings for you, Matt, but like, oh, this is just too much for me. So I have to go. And she doesn't say that. She waits until Matt basically is like, don't leave. Like, he tells her twice, like, don't leave. Like, trust the process, and like, I really want to get to know you, and I like you, like. And then she tells him, after he's like done this whole monologue of like why he wants her to stay, she's like, the girls are like being so mean to me. The girls are being so mean to me, so I have to go. Like, what? Which one is it? Is it your dad or the girls being mean to you? Girl, get bye. I just feel like this isn't over. I feel like it's not over. I feel like she's gonna come back at some point, but maybe not. So then that's it. She leaves, and Matt's, you know, visibly upset and hurt because he, you know, he did seem to really like her, and they did seem to have some sort of connection. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was love at first sight or something. So it looks like that's the end of that episode. The end of this episode, end of episode 3. And so episode 4, from the previews, it looks like more girls are coming, and I don't understand that. I don't get it. There are like 4 more girls coming, and he hasn't even talked to some of the girls who are already there. So I don't know why extra women are coming. That makes me feel a little like, I wonder if maybe Sarah really was the girl that he really wanted to make it to the end. And I don't know, maybe he doesn't like any of the other girls. I just don't understand why they're bringing in more women in the 4th week of the show. And have they done that before? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I hope I didn't go too hard on Sarah, but she was just pissing me off. So anyway, let me know in the comments, down in the comments, what you thought of this episode. And yeah, anyway, like, subscribe to this channel. Check out my other interviews, my podcast interviews if you like. Follow me on Instagram at Random Conversations Elizabeth on Instagram, all that good stuff. But yeah, join me again next week for episode 4 of The Bachelor. Bye.